I asked Luke too.
No, he said everybody.
Yeah, I
He
said Luke
said
too.
Luke, Jennifer, or Lindsay.
You might have said Luke first, actually. Anyway, it's after 6 o'clock, so I'd like to begin this study session of Urbana School District 116. Of our Secretary Pro Tem stand-in, read the roll call, please.
Member Cheryl?
Here.
Member Hickson?
Here.
Member Marvu here. Member Baxley?
Here.
Member Pulaski?
Here. Thank you. We have a quorum. Are there any additions, corrections, or modifications to tonight's agenda? And there is no call for an executive session following tonight's meeting. So we'll move right into citizen statements. Is anybody here present wishing to make a statement before the board? Please fill out a goldenrod sheet in the back of the room and hand it to our recording secretary, Laura Johnson. We haven't received any yet, so calling once, calling twice. No citizen statement this evening. The chair would then entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda as published.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are no combinations of recognition tonight, so we'll kick off our meeting with the student ambassador report.
Hi, here's our report for September 16th. So sport updates. Soccer beat Uni High, and they also beat Muhammad. They beat Monticello also last night, 5-0. So they've had a very good season so far. Hope to continue it. Volleyball, they had JV and varsity both beat Uni High, and then JV beat Normal West. Football, last Friday night, they had a game against Normal Community. And this Friday, they'll have the homecoming game against Central. Cross country, they placed 4th as a team at the Charleston Invite. Swimming has placed 1st in backstroke and 2nd at the medley relay in Centennial. And they've gotten many personal PRs at that meet. And tennis, they won against STM. So very good sport updates so far. And then for Spirit Week, that's this week. Monday was Generation Day. The seniors were senior citizens and the juniors were adults. And I know the freshmen were babies, so a lot of people dressed up. It was really fun. Today was Twin Day, and there was a home volleyball game today and a home swim meet. And then Wednesday is your favorite season day. There'll be float building, and then Thursday is sports day, and there will also be float building then. And then Friday is class color day, and there's the pep rally. And then there will be the homecoming parade and the homecoming football game. And the Saturday, of course, is homecoming, so very exciting week. And then our senior sunrise, that happened 2 Fridays ago now. The senior class held their senior sunrise on the football field, and the Civic Engagement Club organized it, and they earned $150. In the middle there is a picture of everyone who showed up, so as you can see, a very good turnout. Lots of people came, so it's really fun. And the NHS induction happened last Wednesday. They were inducted into the National Honor Society, and on the right is a picture of all the new inductees. And then some responses to our student survey that we sent out. There's a question there that says list a few things you feel UHS does right. And we actually got multiple responses saying that students feel the phone policy is a needed change and they like it. So that was pretty exciting to hear. We had a meeting with Ms. Emily Lane, the manager of Quest Foods. So we told her about some concerns we have received with the student survey, about students not necessarily loving the food, the portions not always being the biggest, sanitary concerns, and some concerns about cross-contamination. And she is going to look into many of the concerns, and I believe she has already talked to her staff about multiple. And then we also shared some student preferences for foods, what students like to see. And she shared with us that they have passed 2 inspections since the one last February where they received a yellow card. And I know personally as a student I was not aware of that, and I know many students are more hesitant to eat the food ever since hearing about the yellow card. So I actually went to the UHS newspaper, and I believe they'll be writing an article on it now to encourage students that it's safe and it's good to eat. And I believe they'll also be interviewing Ms. Lane with that. And then looking forward, homecoming is Saturday, and so the homecoming football game will be Friday night. Next meeting, we'll have an in-depth look at responses from the Student Concern Survey. And we also have scheduled a meeting with Waller to discuss a boys volleyball team because we've gotten lots of responses from the survey asking for one. So thank you guys.
Thank you. It is now time for board reports. Does any board member wish to make a report this evening? Going once, going twice. All right, then we'll go right into administrative reports. First up is Ann Noel from Stiefel presenting a report on refinancing tax refunding school bonds.
You tried it. I didn't push hard enough. All right. Well, thank you. It's also my homecoming in my high school, and we're having a reunion this weekend, so I'll be joining in homecoming madness myself, which is a little frightening, actually. But anyway, gonna go embrace that. So, I'm here tonight just to share some positive news. The district does have some bonds that you sold in 2017, which were actually the bonds for the Yankee Ridge project, that are eligible to be refinanced, and they do currently save money. You only have 7 years left on these bonds, so it's not an excessively long period of time to capture savings, but it does generate savings, and we are recommending at this time you do have a resolution before you tonight that will authorize the possible refunding of these bonds. We will only do so if it saves money. And it is very much on the bubble as far as generating savings or not. We've been watching this for a little while. Interest rates have actually come down about 0.4% in the last month, and that is what has pushed us sort of over the edge into positive savings zone. So these bonds that you see on the left-hand side are the ones that we're talking about refinancing, and the total amount outstanding is about $9 million on those. Actually, I think the amount we're refinancing is only about $7.8 million. So these are all the district's remaining outstanding bonds. None of the rest of these are eligible to be refinanced right now, so we're only talking about the 2017 A bonds. This is just the district's statutory borrowing capacity, which has nothing to do with refinancing, so we don't have to focus on that today. Refinancing is just one board action to authorize, because even though you're selling new bonds, you're just refinancing bonds that you've previously sold. So it doesn't require a public hearing, it doesn't require a public notice. All the things that we have done many times when you've sold bonds don't apply if you're refinancing. Refinancing is pretty straightforward. So the action you would take tonight would be the only action you would have to take. This is the summary of the proposed refinancing. It's about $7.5 million of new bonds, and the savings are highlighted down at the bottom. So about $206,000 based on current interest rates. That's net of the cost, so that's actual savings to the district after the fact. The savings will just come off your property tax levy, because these are bonds that you levy for. They're not sales tax backed bonds. So the savings just go directly to the taxpayers by a slight reduction in your levy every year. It's very small. So on your tax base, it's not much that people are gonna feel, because it's $206,000 over 7 years. So it does not make a huge impact on your tax base, but it is still $200,000 of property tax revenue. This graph shows you the interest rate sensitivity, and that green bar is where we are currently. So if interest rates go up by 0.25%, we drop below the savings threshold where we would recommend that you move forward. So that's how interest rate sensitive it is. So we can authorize it tonight, and that authorization is good for months. So we can just sit back and watch, see what happens. We expect the Fed to lower rates tomorrow. We expect there's a likelihood they may do so again later this year. All of those things present some positive opportunity that hopefully means the refinancing will make sense. But it is very interest rate sensitive. This is the tax impact after the proposed refinancing. So if you look at the blue highlighted columns, the column that says tax rate, which starts with 0.331, then 0.332 two times, and then look at the same thing in the green column all the way over the far right of the green section. That's the tax rate after we do the refinancing. So the 0.332, which is the proposed tax rate for next year, would go to 0.329. So that's how much impact it has on your tax rate. It is out into that second decimal, okay? But it does have a positive impact. And you can see, I mean, the district's repayment on your bonds on the levy is relatively short. You have 11 years left on those bonds, and then you're free to move on to additional projects. We do have still built in here the rolling working cash that we have been doing with you every 3 years. So that's shown on the far right-hand side there, that every 3 years we would continue to do that to give you money for technology and other capital projects. Are there any questions so far?
Board members, any questions? No, this is all straightforward. We've done this in the past.
Yes,
so.
you have. I included the sales tax bond coverage in here just in case somebody was curious in general. It has nothing to do with the proposed refinancing. This is the process we would use. We will bid these bonds out to banks just to keep the cost down as minimal as possible. So Busey Bank's been very supportive in the past. Perhaps they will give us another good bid, but that's the process we would use for the refinancing. And this is an interest rate graph just to show you that we are on a little downward trend right now, which is why this makes sense. And again, we will only move forward if it saves money. So with that, I will answer any questions, but probably you don't have it.
Yeah, one last call for questions. Okay, so again, this is on our agenda for a vote this evening. All right, thank you, Ann. Have a safe drive home.
Thank you for your time.
Our second administrative report this evening is on summer facilities and health, life, safety projects. Randy.
Yep. Good evening. I'll start off with the safety survey. Met with IGW Architecture quite a few times, starting last year about this time, to try to put this list together. Just recently came up with a final list to submit to I guess the state, ISB, whoever else this has to go to. And you guys have a copy of the list that we have what are our urgent items, which is we have 1 year to complete. Many of the items on here have already been done. We kind of completed them as we came across them. Some of the other bigger items, like the door on this building, and the Martin Luther King, VFDs and DOAs, the heating cooling system basically. We will attack this summer, next summer, sorry, and get this whole list will be done by then. So a lot of the smaller stuff on here, there's that have a big number, like the fire doors, like in corridors and for the high school library. We're pretty sure those are fireproof, but the label has been removed or painted over, and so we just have to do a little research, see if we can find them. And if we can't, it's actually cheaper to replace the door than to have it tested for whether or not it's fire rated for the right class label they have to have. So we might be replacing quite a few doors, but yeah. You guys have any questions about anything on that list?
Any questions, board? Go ahead, Jennifer.
Not really on this list, but I had sent a question in about tweaking at the stage in the high school. Is that something that should be on the list?
That was a 2-inch rain in 20 minutes, so it just came up so fast and came into the thing. We have repaired what we think may have been the issue up there. But yeah, well, we hope, when we get the next 2 or 3 inch rain in an hour or something. But yeah, we think it's been patched. That was, well, yeah, I think it's been taken care of. Yeah, we think it was just like a roof latch, and there's like a lip. You should ask the resident roofer if she knows. But the lip comes up so high, and there was so much water that filled up the gutters, and the roof drains weren't able to take it fast enough, so it just came up to that and kind of trickled in there. So we think we've got that repaired, and we'll continue to monitor that. Okay, then no other questions? Okay, on to the summer project summary. It was a busy summer and productive summer for us. Our team successfully packed and relocated the 6th grade materials from the Urbana Middle School to the new 6th grade center. In addition, we moved the entire middle school, offices, classrooms, storage rooms, everything. Every space got touched, and pretty much every piece of furniture or book in that building got moved except for like the library. We were still able to complete all the most of the projects that I told you we would do back in May. There are a few smaller ones that were also added on towards the end. But I shared that list with you guys so you can see what was completed and what was not. The only big thing, not really a big thing, but I did want to work on our cold storage building in our shop, and we just couldn't decide which way we wanted to go with that, if we just wanted to put like lipstick on the building or actually start over. And so it's good enough for now, so we just kind of held off on that repair. And then the first student parking lot, I was hoping to do some seal coating and striping, and that did not happen. But other than that, we completed everything on this list. And then including Yankee Ridge, we added, for the kindergarten classrooms, we added kindergarten-sized sinks and counters. We did some landscaping in a few buildings, did some Thomas Paine, we did some playground painting, added some Foursquare, hopscotches, different games. Same with Dr. Preston Williams, Leal. Leal, we also removed the sandbox and put a little landscape area up there where the sandbox was. We still had to work on the Dr. Preston Williams, the room that had the fire. We had to complete that over the summer. And then pretty much every building, hallways got repainted, doorways got repainted, and quite a few classrooms that most of the buildings got repainted this summer too. Anybody have any questions about that?
I guess with, like at least 9 or 10, I guess, buildings in our district, right? There's a rotation for roofs. I guess which roof is probably going to be next that needs to have
Middle school.
middle school.
Mm-hmm. There's still quite a bit of work to do on the middle school. That's in the
Life safety.
the rest of the 10-year survey that wasn't urgent, but to do the roof. Let me see if I can find that number if they have for that for you. Um, Sorry, a second. That's budget. I won't hold this up, but I can email
Well,
that
the
to
number
you
isn't,
guys.
isn't so important, because
Yeah,
it's gonna
it's just,
change by the time we bid it out.
Yeah,
But-
the roof at the high school was just done a couple years ago. And all the other roofs have kind of been touched. We did this roof this year.
Mhm.
But, yes, I'll email you guys the,
I appreciate it. I mean, that's typically the big ticket item that kind of sneaks up on us, or not sneaks up on us, but just kind of can throw your budget out of whack for a year.
Well, and the good thing is with the state budget, they still have the maintenance grants, the $50,000 maintenance
Ah.
grants this year for FY '26 and FY '27, which is how we've been doing a lot of our roof work in the last few years. So we pay half, and then the state pays, out of that, we pay 50 and the state pays 50, and we're able to do a much bigger, much larger project. So that's how we've done a lot of the roof work, I'd say, at the middle school in the last couple years, right?
Yeah,
Is
we
through the
have
maintenance grants.
applied that grant towards that.
And we plan to do that again, since the state has said that money will be available in the state budget for the next 2 years.
Oh, that's smart.
We have to match it. I
Yeah,
think
we
you said,
match
yeah.
it, yeah.
Well, yeah, but still,
Yeah.
it's free. Might as well use it if we can, so.
Absolutely.
All right, anybody else? All right, thank you very much, Randy.
Thank you.
Moving on, so I want to make it clear, our secretary and secretary pro tem are absent this evening, so acting as our secretary pro tem is Lindsay Marabu. So we have a set of action items on our consent agenda. I'll go ahead and read these, but if anybody wishes to remove one of these action items for a consent agenda, please indicate to the chair. First up are our meeting minutes from the August 19th business meeting, the September 2nd study session, and the September 11th executive session. 11.2 are bills and checks. Ed fund bills to the tune of $1.7 million. O&M fund bills for $265,000. Transportation fund bills for $71,000. Working cash bonds for $1.3 million. Tort for $59,000. School facility occupancy tax for $39,000. Payroll and benefits for just over $4 million. And Urbana adult education for $89,000. There's a set of personnel items in our published in our packet that need approval in 11.3. 11.4 is a new activity accounts for the class of 2029. And Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, FCCLA. Both of these activity counts are at the high school. 11.5 is a resolution authorizing and directing the sale and disposal of property. These are Leal and Yankee Ridge multilingual library books and the well-read curriculum. Does anybody wish to have one of these action items removed from the consent agenda? Seeing no indication of that, the chair would then entertain a motion to approve the entire consent agenda as read.
I move to approve it.
Second?
Been moved second. Any further questions, comments, or discussion? Roll call, please.
Member Cheryl?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Baxley?
Yes?
Member Marvu, yes. Member Pulaski?
Yes. Motion passes. Moving on to individual action items. First up are our gifts. Urbana High School Winter Guard received $300 total to support sponsoring an entry to a competition. Donors were Sports World, Cam Wallace, We Love Urbana, Kanita Fay, and Dr. G's Brainworks, the Dimmitt family. Esther Redden donated $100 to the Urbana High School volleyball program. Stephen Higgins donated $125 to the Urbana High School cross-country program. Jeff and Mary Unger donated $1,500 to the Urbana High School boys and girls tennis program. The UHS Batters Club donated $1,000 to the Urbana High School baseball program to help with new uniform costs. Order of the Eastern Star, Hope number 104, Dolores D. Staley, donated $500 worth of school supplies and backpacks to Thomas Paine Elementary School. Natalie Danner donated a 16-inch viola worth $300 to Urbana High School or another school if needed. Fisher National Bank donated $650 to the Urbana High School golf program. Philip and Fran Damars donated chair smocks to a Thomas Paine classroom valued at $100. Is there a motion to receive these gifts and send out the appropriate thank yous?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further questions, comments, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, all the donors, for donating so generously to our district. That's really, really impressive. 12.2 is a resolution of bond refinancing for interest cost savings. Again, this makes me provide additional context more than was provided by Stiefel.
I really don't think there's much more I can add than what Ann already did. I think it's an easy win for the district, so.
Is there a motion then to put out a bid for refinancing our 2017 bonds that originally financed the renovations at Yankee Ridge?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further questions, comments, or discussion? Roll call, please.
Member Cheryl?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Marbu, yes. Member Baxley?
Yes.
Member Pulaski?
Yes, motion passes, and keep your fingers crossed for an interest rate drop. 12.3 is fiscal year 26 Urbana School District and Adult Education Budget Resolution. So this is discussed at our last meeting, the budget resolutions that were presented by Adult Ed and by the district. Is there a motion to accept the budgets that were presented at our last meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further questions, comments, or discussion? Roll call, please.
Member Cheryl?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Marbu, yes. Member Baxley?
Yes.
Member Pulaski?
Yes, motion passes. 12.4 is Press Plus 118. Again, this was covered in presentation at our last meeting. It's new or rewritten board policies from Press Plus issue 118. Is there a motion for the floor?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved to second. And again, any questions, comments, or discussion? Roll call, please.
Member Cheryl?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Marbu, yes. Member Baxley?
Yes.
Member Pulaski?
Yes, motion passes. 12.5 is a resolution fund settlement agreement that I am excited about because this has been hanging over our heads for the entirety of my board service. We are finally, this is a resolution, intergovernmental agreement basically with county taxing districts to settle up repaying presents for tax monies that were held in abeyance until litigation, potential litigation was resolved. So, is there a motion to accept the reconciliation fund agreement settlement?
So moved.
Been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and second.
Can I ask a question, though?
Sure.
I know that, oh, what?
Oh no, this is questions, discussion, or
Okay.
you're fine.
You're fine, go ahead.
Okay. We all know how it happened, and now that it's been voted on, is this something you talk about or not talk about?
You can talk. You can talk about it. Basically, there was about $6.5 million that was held originally in TIF Fund 4, and when the Fund 4 expired, the district received its portion of it because it was held in abeyance, though, or held.
Tip 3.
TIF 3, was it TIF 3? I'm sorry. It was TIF 3 that closed, and then the Presence, that's where Presence was located. And then, while there was a potential court case between all the taxing bodies, not just the district, with regards to what to do with those funds, the district kind of put them in escrow until everything was settled and resolved, which was just kind of negotiated between all the taxing districts and President's Hospital. So the district paid that out, and there was complications with regards to accounting, depending on different ways of accounting it. The different taxing bodies could assume a different level of financial responsibility. The difference, I think, the district versus one method versus the other was around $60,000, and all the bodies came to basically an agreement on how to divvy that up. Yep. Okay. So, all right. Any further questions, comments? Roll call, please.
Member Cheryl?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Marabou? Yes. Member Baxley?
Yes.
Member Pulaski?
Yes. And finally, 12.6 is the naming facilities committee. So thank you very much for the administration for doing the legwork, which I didn't have time to do during my work day, to hunt down a group of people to sit on a committee and help us come up with an official name for what we're calling now the Sixth Grade Center. So received in our packets was basically a structure for the committee and a charge for the committee.
So you want to just discussion now? I can.
I guess, yeah, I mean, you can provide additional context before we
Okay,
make
before
a.
you do that. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a charge, and I shared via email with board members last Wednesday. I'm looking at the email, where I felt like we had enough people to go ahead and get together. I sent emails out to several people that were either part of the current sixth grade community or were part of the 2023 Facilities Committee, and the deadline for those folks to respond to me was Monday. And so, having heard back from everyone, I sent, today I sent everyone an email saying the board would be voting on this tonight, and moving forward, they would be communicating with Lori as the board recording secretary to help create agendas and notice the meeting, and that the facilitator who the person who's agreed to facilitate is Imani Carr, the current principal at the Sixth Grade Center, has agreed to be the moderator, facilitator of those meetings. And as I shared with the board, we have kind of two groups. We have the community member who petitioned the board. We have a Sixth Grade Center teacher, a Sixth Grade Center parent, and because there are a lot of logistical issues in terms of keeping the former Wiley name, which was one of the major impetuses for us in terms of changing it, is there's just a lot of data concerns with confusion with data and technology issues. So we are going to have a technology person, someone from the IT team will participate in that committee as well to explain those back in kind of logistical things to the folks on the committee. And then from the 2023 Facilities Committee, we had responses from a Wiley parent, a former Wiley parent, a UMS teacher, a sixth grade, the teacher when she was on the committee was there to represent secondary, but now she's at the Sixth Grade Center, and a parent slash community member who has children at several different grades in our district right now, who will have a future SGC student soon. Our two board members are Lindsay and Ben, who are also parents, so I think they will have a unique perspective to bring to the community. So, to the committee, sorry. So you have a charge, which basically I have pulled some language out from our policy about naming, and then the areas that the committee will examine and consider. Of course, we're not limited to these. If the committee starts to meet and comes up with other things that they would like to consider, but these are the ones that have been brought forward either to the board or discussed. So renaming the current Urbana Sixth Grade Center, like Paul said, what we're calling the Urbana Sixth Grade Center, to the Flossie Wiley Sixth Grade Center. Keeping the, what we're referring to as the Urbana Sixth Grade Center, keeping that name, because it follows the district's naming conventions of what we do for several of our other schools, Urbana Early Childhood, Urbana Middle School, Urbana High School, Urbana Adult Education Center. All of our other secondary campuses follow that, style and naming. And if the building name of the Urbana Sixth Grade Center is continued, then the committee would consider naming other areas of the building to honor Flossie Wiley. Specifically, the library has been discussed, community garden, and we opened up the gymnasium at the Sixth Grade Center this week. So the gymnasium is another naming opportunity, but there may be others that the committee thinks about or comes up with, so we're of course not limited to these options. The committee will be chaired by the current principal, as we mentioned. It will include representatives from, as I've said, Sixth Grade Center, middle school, Wiley. We do have members of this committee who are part of the Urbana Education Association, so our union. We'll have at least one, maybe district administrator, which will probably be the IT person, and then we have our 2 members of the Board of Education. The committee's meetings will be publicly noticed and held at the Sixth Grade Center. Following tonight's meeting, Lori will work with Ms. Carr to get her availability, and hopefully they can, through a doodle poll, come up with the next few meetings and get this taken care of in the next month or 2. Several of the people have asked me how many meetings do I think it might be, and how long, and I really can't answer that, so I've just said at least a minimum of 2 to 3 is what I'm thinking. Other naming committees, with the exception of Dr. Preston Williams, that one really did go on much longer than expected, but in other instances where we've done some naming, it has been able to be handled in a couple of meetings, and it may go longer than that. I can't really predict that, so I don't know. So I've been saying at least 2 to 3, maybe more. So that is what you have on your charge, and I know I've communicated with the folks who have volunteered, so they will then be waiting for next steps after tonight.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing this. This was a load of work off of my personal plate, so thank you. I guess the chair would then entertain a motion to approve the charge and then panel the committee to execute the charge.
So moved.
To move, is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Further questions, comments, or discussion?
So I'm wondering, would the technology person be on the committee as an expert witness with a vote or without a vote?
I would say as an expert witness for sure.
Right. I knew
Because
that,
they
yeah.
have a lot of the knowledge that I think the
Right.
people in the committee.
Because you
would
thought
need.
that was important about the data?
It is important because
And
the
y-
way our data is going to be represented on the school report card forevermore is important information. And the way we have that information entered into Skyward is very important too. So it is an important part of what I think needs to be discussed in terms of considering what the name would be.
I wonder why that would be so important. We didn't rename Yankee Ridge when we changed the whole.
But Yankee Ridge was already an elementary school. This building is a secondary school, so their schedule is very different. The tests and assessments that they take are very different.
But you just changed that with the state in the RCDTS.
We
score.
changed it in Skyward. We changed it,
Right.
everything within the
And
Illinois
so
school report card
changing the name
changes.
is not that,
Changing the RCDTS code is a very small part of this.
Okay.
In terms of what happened, we upload data for the National School Lunch Program.
Sure.
For basically every grant, everything that we do involves the back end of all of our data. So, I don't know, John,
Well-
if you want to add anything to that, you can, but.
Yeah, and the scheduling, everything's completely different.
Oh, sure.
For Sixth Grade Center, it was a very different change from changing Yankee Ridge, which also was a huge undertaking.
Yes, it was.
I'm not going to bore you guys, but just trust me, there's like so many things that we can talk about more at the committee.
okay.
So,
So to answer your question, it is important.
okay, but the voting,
It doesn't matter to me whether that person gets to vote or not.
and I want to say that we did get a description of the committee members, but we did not get, we did not know who the moderator was.
Okay.
That you sent
So
us
I
on Wednesday.
Yes, and I
But we
shared it
didn't get the
tonight.
charge or who the moderator was until 3 o'clock today.
Okay,
And just because I'm busy on Tuesday afternoons, I didn't see it until 4 o'clock today.
Okay.
But I thought that was late, I'll be honest. And I have a problem with the charge.
okay.
So I did very quickly write something up. I wish I had had more time to think more positively about it. But these are my thoughts. Okay. I have a problem with the charge. The name of the building is currently Flossie Wiley School. In the charge, it states that the name of the building is Urbana Sixth Grade Center, and we're changing it to Flossie Wiley School. The board has not changed the name, therefore, the name is still Flossie Wiley School. To me, this committee was obviously set up to accomplish what the administration was hoping to accomplish by fiat. If you want to know why the Wiley community has FOIA'd so much material, here is your answer. It's a lack of trust brought on by a lack of trustworthy behavior. The superintendent told us that she acted to change the name of the school with the state because the board had not acted. Well, the board did not have to act. The people in the community did not have to act. We told them that they did not have to act to keep the name the same. It was the people who wanted to change the name that had to act. No one came forward to request a name change, including the superintendent, who knew what the community had been told. She sat here and listened to the president of the board tell the community what the policy is. It was basically, at the meeting, not reading the policy, but just saying it off the top of his head. Don't worry, you don't have to act. The board must act if someone requests a change, and then you would be able to respond and bring your case to the board at that time. Then the name was changed by the administration without so much as a by your leave to the board. I take no pleasure in saying all that. I've tried to keep the conversation cordial. But this is sort of outrageous. The superintendent sent a message to the board at the last minute at 3 o'clock this afternoon telling us the charge of the committee and the name of the moderator. That is hardly enough time for board members to digest the materials and make positive, substantive suggestions to the charge. I think the superintendent owes the board and the community an apology for how this has all been handled. And I did figure out if there are 11 members on the board, there are 4 parent, this is from what you sent on Wednesday, 4 parent community members, 36%, 4 staff members, 36%, 2 board members, 18%. And if the moderator is a staff member, would be 45% would be staff members. I would like to see the committee made up of more community members. This is a community school, and we should have community input. I would like to see more community members, people who are not tied to the district, particularly with a salary. So this is how I feel. I feel bad saying it.
Well, let me tell you how I feel. One, I feel very personally attacked by everything that you just read. On the advice of our attorneys, we had 3 public hearings officially closing Wiley School. So for you to say that that all of this was done with some nefarious I don't know what, our attorney at the time, Dennis Weedman, advised us to have the closings. We met with our Gary Lewis from the ROE, and in my view and in the view of many people, Wiley Elementary was closed. We went through the process to do that. That, to me, meant the building was closed and it did not exist. You got a lot of time to talk. It's my time now.
Yeah.
Okay, so just let me finish.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So all of the FOIAs and all of the mistrust, there was no underhanded, it was simply the building did not exist anymore in terms of being called Wiley Elementary School, which is why we moved forward for lots of reasons. And Jennifer, I'm not going to sit here and debate every single one of them with you and Tom Schroeder and whoever else you're communicating with. But just know there are a lot of back end and a lot of other things that that go into these decisions that are not as cut and dry as I think people would like to think that they are. Okay? And you can believe me, you can believe John, you can believe whoever you want about that. So the reason the Urbana 6th grade center name was chosen is that is what we call all of our other schools that don't have official names. Urbana Early Childhood, Urbana Middle School, Urbana High School. There was no, let me go out and find something and make something up. We followed exactly what we have done for all of our other buildings. So I take issue with the fact that you and Tom Schroeder and all these other people in the community continue to say that there is some, that I have some nefarious plan in all of this. We followed the same conventions for naming this building as we would any other building. The purpose of the school is it is full of 300 sixth graders. That is why it has been being called the 6th grade center. And the reason we did not continue with the Wiley name is Wiley Elementary School closed at the end of the 3rd public hearing that we sat right here and had 2 years ago in 2023. That's it. There was no hidden agenda and there is no, I know you guys would like to think that there is, but there isn't. That is it. That is the only reason why we move forward with a different name. I know there are lots of people who have opinions about this, and if you'd like to go out, we can drag this on forever and ever. But because of the comments that you just read, and because of the negativity that people are putting forward with this, there are a lot of people who don't want to be involved with this. So I'm sure you could fill the committee with a lot of people who think like you and who think like Tom, but is that really the purpose of what we should be doing? This building is serving 6th graders. We should have parents on this committee.
Of course.
There should be teachers on this committee. There should be union members on this committee. I don't doubt that there could be more community members involved if that's what you'd like to do. But there are a lot of people who don't want to be associated with the negativity that is continuing to go on in our community around this. People didn't even want their names to be mentioned, including the moderator, until it was time for this vote to happen. Which is why her name was kept out of this discussion until tonight. So that's all I have to say.
Well, I do feel bad if people feel that way, because certainly I've never heard anything say anything about the moderator. But as a board, I can remember the meeting, and I have to admit, I wasn't on the board at that point in time. But I feel that as a board member now, I am a part of that board history. So I feel that we as a board misled that community. I'll be honest. And I don't like that feeling. And I have had people who have no interest in Wiley or the school, the name, but talking to me about other things, about, the teachers leaving the high school for the middle school, blah, 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 blah. And this person who actually supported the teachers leaving the high school said, we know that has to happen. She said, but why can't you just be honest with us?
I was just honest with you, and the fact that you're telling me that I wasn't, I have a real problem with that. You don't know, you can't tell me I wasn't being honest, and the fact that everyone, so I'm gonna stop talking right now.
Okay.
May I say something?
Hmm?
This mess is on me. It really is. Because I agree with Dr. Ivory Tatum that when the board officially voted and closed Wiley School was closed, name included. But board policy basically has two conditions for naming. One is when something new is built, and I consider the sixth grade center to be a new thing. I know there's interpretation on this, and lots of people disagree with me. That's how I'm reading it. We probably should have created this committee when we had planned to build that thing. We're doing it late. That is on me. Everybody direct your ire to me, not to Dr. Ivory Tatum on that. Okay? I would really like to focus on moving forward. This
Yes,
is a
please.
path forward and ending this once and for all. We can have disagreements on the composition of the committee. We can have disagreements on the charge. Let's just focus on how we can fix this instead of how we got here. Because
Can we change the charge?
of course,
Okay, if we can change the charge,
Are we just changing the charge because you're disagreeing with it, though? Or
I believe that the charge is set up
But that's
to,
one opinion.
yeah, you're right. Oh, no, I'm not saying we should change the
Set up
charge
to do-
because,
Set up in what way,
I don't
Jennifer?
believe we should change the charge because I disagree with it. That I'm not saying. I'm saying we should discuss the charge.
But
And
set
if,
up to
and
what?
if other people disagree with it, then we should change the charge. That was my question.
yes, no, so, I guess formally at this point, the chair would entertain a motion to approve the charge as written, and if we could accept then friendly amendments to edit it at that point. That's one way of doing this. Another would be to entertain a motion to postpone a vote on this for 2 weeks, so that people can sit on it, for that period of time and come up with recommendations. I'm prepared to vote on the charge as written. I think it's fine, but if anybody has wishes to either make amendments to the charge or to postpone for 2 weeks to have more of an opportunity to do so, I'd be happy to entertain those motions. But I'm seeking the will of the board here.
At a minimum, I would like to see the charge the wording of the charge be changed to include the language that the president of the board mentioned, that the building that we are currently calling the sixth grade center, rather than referring it.
That's written in the very first paragraph. The future name of the building currently called the Urbana Sixth Grade
Okay,
Center.
and,
It says that
but
in the
later
very
on
first
it
line.
isn't. And I think it should be called, repeated that way.
Okay.
You're
So I
right.
can change that in the first bullet then. Rename the building currently called the Urbana Sixth Grade Center. For the first bullet, but it is in the first line.
And then I would say when you use the term change the name of to Flossie Wiley, or change the name. It's like, this is the name. And that to me is giving weight to the fact that you're asking people to change the name to something else, when actually the name, to me, the building is still there. If I walk by, the building is there.
It was closed. So
It was
You're not
closed. It is
carrying
no
that
longer Flossie Wiley. It is now the Urbana Sixth Grade Center. When my kid goes to school, he goes to school at the Urbana Sixth Grade Center. That is what he knows. He doesn't know that it's Flossie Wiley or it used to be. He goes to school at Urbana Sixth Grade Center. That is what he knows. So whether you may identify with it as, our children now identify it as, until we come up with a plan and we come together as adults and get this figured out correctly. But arguing about it right now, about how you feel, is not okay.
So do you have a,
Well, I'm just trying to capture her intent in a possible amendment
Yes.
to the current charge.
so I have renamed the building currently called the.
Well,
Urbana
I,
Sixth Grade, so
I,
you're
I,
gonna
I'm
change
phrasing
something
it differently.
else. Okay.
Which is basically, that's
Establishing a name. for
let's
one?
say it's nameless. To
Okay.
try to offend the least number of people possible.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, establish the building's name as Flossie Wiley Sixth Grade Center as the first bullet.
Got it.
Establish the building's name as the Urbana Sixth Grade Center, et cetera, for the second bullet. And then and then the third bullet doesn't need to be changed.
Yeah, I like that.
Is that acceptable?
That
Uh,
is.
Do the other, this isn't an official vote, but would the other board members object to changing the language of those bullets as I just described? Okay.
And we can rewrite this and make sure this is the charge that the committee gets for their first meeting,
Okay.
the rewritten version.
All right, so we're still just chatting here. There's no motion on the floor. Is there anything else, I guess, you want to cover with regards to the language in the charge? Okay. With regards to the committee chair, that is pretty much established policy that whenever something is named in a building, the principal of that building chairs the committee. That's not out of bounds in
No,
terms
no,
of.
no, no. I wasn't saying it was out of bounds. I was
I'm just
ask-
informing the
Yeah,
public
yeah, yeah,
of that
Um,
more than anything.
Yeah,
I'm just.
yeah. I wasn't saying that was out of bounds. I'm wondering, does the moderator have a vote? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Generally, they would, but I respect the committee, and I will give heavy weight to the committee's recommendation, but as always with committees, the board has the final say in what's done. So, we have two of us sitting on the committee. They can choose whether or not to vote in that form or not, because they're going to be voting in this form on it. I think what I care more about than the actual vote is basically getting a sense of the will of the committee, and the qualitative sense of that was discussed, and I'm hoping to get a report back along those lines from the two board members attending.
And we'll invite the moderator and/or a member of the committee to come the night that they make the recommendation and share, basically like we did with the facilities committee, kind of share their process, share what they considered and why they considered it, and so there would be a full presentation for the board to consider once they reach a point that they feel that they have consensus to bring something forward.
Okay. All right. So, the question I have for my fellow board members is, are you prepared to vote on this charge as amended tonight? If so, I would heartily entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further questions, comments, or discussion? Let's do a roll call vote. I'm not sure if it requires a roll call vote or not, but let's
You
do
should
it,
do it.
just to be careful.
Just to be sure.
Member Cheryl?
Yes.
Member Hickson?
Yes.
Member Marlowe, yes. Member Baxley?
Yes.
Member Pulaski?
Yes, and thanks in advance to committee. This is obviously a stressful thing to take on, and you have my sincere thanks. Moving on with our agenda. That's our last action item. There is no call for future special or executive meetings. It is now time for our superintendent's report.
Very short, because Mia covered all the I saw your report early enough, so you covered a lot of things that I didn't have to cover. So if you want to know all the upcoming happenings, check out the Student Ambassador Report again. A couple of things that weren't covered there, though, is since our last meeting, we found out that we have 2 National Merit semifinalists. We haven't had National Merit semifinalists for the last 2 or 3 years. So congratulations to Kavi Patel and John Lee for being named from their PSAT scores. They're juniors, so there's they take a test when they're juniors, and they compete. I had it here. I think there were, gosh, I want to say like 20,000 high schools enter this contest. And this preliminary, and it is if they are named future finalists, then there is a significant scholarship that goes with it. So, so congratulations to both of them, and we wish them good luck in the next step of the process. We have been sharing out since just Thursday, Friday, that I've been working with our ASCCP program, and they have agreed to host a schools day out for our students. If you remember when we approved the calendar committee, and there was a lot of discussion about Yom Kippur being a religious holiday, and we decided to take that day off as a fall holiday. However, because it falls on a Thursday, there was concern about childcare and working families and what were they going to do with their kiddos, since you know, that isn't a state or national holiday where daycares are not closed, and you know, places where people need to take their kids that day. They need to just have stuff to do. So the ASCCP program is going to host a schools day out at each elementary school. We've created a sign-up sheet, so if you know of people who need to work that day and don't have anywhere for their kiddos to go, they can go to their regular elementary schools. We'll provide breakfast and lunch. There won't be buses running that day, however, and there is a $25 cost, but if you cannot pay the $25, then if you reach out to Chad Harper and Terry Napper, they will work with you on that. So we're excited to do that. We want to see what kind of participation we get from this, because we're not quite, we may get 100 students at each school, we may get 10 or 15, but it'll give us a measure at least to see if this is something that families want us to do in the future or not. So this is something new that we're doing. And then lastly, homecoming. So this is new information since, I think the next slide, John, is new information since Mia shared all the events with homecoming. So we've been talking a lot about capacity. Anytime we are playing a crosstown rivalry game, or just when we play Centennial or Central, we tend to get a lot of folks who show up, whether they go to Central, Centennial. We have, just other high schools who kind of come. It happens in Champaign too, so they kind of did the same thing last week when they were playing a in-town school. So due to capacity concerns, and this is because we have a certain number of seats on our side. On the visiting side, it's a lot smaller than the home side, and we tend to run out of space over there, and especially when it's Central or Centennial. So we're following kind of what Unit 4 did for their last game, and only allowing USD 116 students and Champaign Central students to attend the game. That doesn't mean adults and community members and folks like that cannot come, or parents. It just means that only students who attend those 2 schools will be permitted. So we're asking them to bring their IDs, and we're also reminding them that no bags and backpacks are allowed into the game. We also usually have our metal detectors out there as well. So we're going to be sharing this out via social media, and we hope that all the students get the message, but more so, we really want other students who are planning to come from other high schools to know that they won't be admitted on Friday night. So that is it.
Right, thank you. There's a series of FOIA reports that were published in our public agenda that were all processed successfully. We have board report on here, again, on the agenda, but we've already had that earlier. We should probably remove that in general from our agenda template. The chair would then entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Second.
So moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, everybody, for the, see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Hey, Lindsay, I can tell you this. You got a little